So I go into kind of like a frenzy. I call my one of the tenants that are there. I'm like, hey, did you guys let them back in the house, or did you guys like what? Is there people in the house that are not supposed to be there or whatever?
Yeah.
And he's like, oh yeah, we're having a Super Bowl party. I'm like, okay, you're having a Super Bowl party, but I think the old Airbnb people snuck back in the house. But no, they didn't sneak back in the house. We invited them.
Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Once Upon a BnB. We are your hosts. I'm Maha.
And this is Ian. Anna is late.
Annsleigh?
I meant did I? All right, off to a great start.
Anyways, we have a guest today, our third, I think, Zoom guest, Isaac. Yay! Welcome, Isaac. We, like every Zoom, started the first 45 minutes with, can you hear me? Can you hear me now? Say something. Say something. Can you hear me? But we got it figured out. Thank you for your patience.
Of course.
Where are you Zooming in from?
So currently I'm in New Jersey, like Philly, New Jersey borderline right now.
Okay.
But I'm from DC, so.
Oh, yeah, it looks like you're in a hotel room. Are you visiting there?
I am. I'm actually on military duty for like the next 90 days.
Oh, wow. What branch?
I'm in the Air Force.
Very cool. One of our producers is in the air. Let me not get the wrong branch. I want to say it's the Air Force, but
we're getting thumbs up.
Yeah,
from
Air Force.
There we go.
Hi, Air Force. Yeah.
I tried to overpronounce Annsleigh's name and then fucked it up. She's not here. We're our third host, but you zoomed in. She's driving it on the road now. And that would not be very safe.
We thought about it, but yeah, we voted against it. So what are you doing in Jersey? Slash Philly. Jersey, is that like, are those bordering towns? Towns.
Yeah, well, New Jersey and Philly they're like 20 minutes apart.
Interesting.
But I'm here for they have like a refugee camp, and we're just working the refugee camp.
These are from Afghanistan, I'm assuming, or just general?
Wow, that's so cool. So you're like, are you with a nonprofit or?
Military. No,
oh yeah, the military. You said that. Just kidding. Great memories over here. All the CBD. So where are you from originally?
DC.
I'm from Washington D.C. or like the DC area.
Okay, cool. And you still live in DC now?
Yes.
All right.
And is that where I know that I did my homework? Is that where you purchased your home?
No, actually, I purchased the home in Baltimore.
Ooh, your homework failed. Baltimore. Okay, that's pretty close to DC, though, right?
It's about an hour and a half, maybe.
That's where you were in school, yeah?
Yeah, that's where I went to school.
Boom.
All right, he saved it. Where did you go to? What school did you go to?
Did a little research. I went to Towson University.
Okay. No, he actually listened and watched like your YouTube videos the whole way up here, so he researched you hard, stalked you a little bit.
I only have like 3 of those, so
I think he saw all 3. So how did you get into the Airbnb business?
All right, so I mean, initially, my goal was to kind of just do short term to college students. I bought the house when I was 19 or 20 years old, and I just wanted people to pay rent, so I would live there for free.
I did the same thing in college when I was like 19 years old.
Awesome, look at that.
Long time ago, though, but yeah. Go ahead.
So we were doing that, and then being in the military, I'm in the National Guard, so anything that happens in the DC area, we get like mobilized for it. So during when the pandemic started, they activated me, and I had to move to wherever like the heat of the pandemic was, and I had to work that because I'm a medic in the military.
Oh wow!
So, yeah, so that just meant my house. And when the pandemic hit, college students got sent home, and all of a sudden, no one wanted to pay rent anymore. So I just had an empty house, a mortgage, and I wasn't even living there. So
and that's how Airbnb came to be.
Well, a couple of months though, Airbnb was kind of people. The hosts were SOL for in the very beginning. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that was rough.
So I put one room on Airbnb just to kind of try it out, and it was a shabby room. I didn't really spice it up or nothing like that. I had a dorm style bed in there. It was a twin XL, and I put the room on there for $40 a night, and literally someone booked it for a month. Like,
Oh, immediately.
yeah, and I was like, all right. I tried it for a week to see like what the process was, to see if like the person would have any complaints that I wouldn't be able to handle like long term and stuff. And she didn't. I really didn't feel her being in the house. I mean, I wasn't living there, but she didn't complain much.
She wasn't worse than any of your long-term guests that weren't paying anymore.
Yeah, exactly. It was better than. And the thing about Airbnb is that they pay up front, so
Yeah.
they pay so it kind of helped me in that regard.
And how did that work out? Like 40 a month in terms of what you were getting. I'd imagine you were making more at that rate.
Well, honestly, I wasn't making profit from renting. So the Airbnb, I actually made more just because. Well, initially I didn't make more. Ultimately, I did at the end. At the beginning, since it was only one room, I think I made like $650 my first month.
Why did you do only one room?
Dipping his toes.
I only did
in.
one room because the most of the rooms were still occupied. Like I still have my things there. I didn't fully move out.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I was just kind of testing. I had one room in the house that was never occupied, so I figured let me just put
That one on there.
Yeah.
Okay. So did you eventually go like empty out the other rooms and start renting the whole house?
Yeah. So eventually, what I did once I saw the success of that first room, I put my personal room on there on the thing, and then I rented that out for like $60 a night because my room was bigger and nicer. Then someone that rented immediately, and then I cleaned out someone else's room upstairs. I put that room on Airbnb for the same price as the one upstairs, so about $35 a range because Airbnb kind of fluctuates the price depending on demand and whatever.
Yeah.
So I put that on there. So, and then I converted my basement into a new room because it was just so I was getting so many requests from college students who wanted somewhere to stay for like temporarily until the school thing got under like control.
Yeah.
So yeah, I ended up decking out my basement, turning my 4-bedroom house into a 5-bedroom house, and completely Airbnb out the whole house.
Oh, so did you like stay renting the rooms all separately the whole time, or did you eventually? You probably came out better that way, I would imagine, than just renting the whole house, right?
Right. It was. I actually didn't get a chance to rent the whole house out just because, the duration of people's like.
They were like overlapping and.
Exactly.
Okay.
They would rent like a month at a time, 2 months at a time. I just wouldn't have time to get everyone out at the same time and then post the whole house. So
yeah, that's like every host's dream, like to have all long-term renters like that, and then in multiple rooms too, separately. Like, good job. Are you still doing that?
No. So unfortunately, I stopped Airbnb after my horror stories. I just
oh boy, great segue.
So now that's an amazing segue.
Perfect segue.
We're not that great at it, if you haven't noticed. So
we're not the smoothest.
Why don't you tell us about one of these Airbnb horror stories?
All right, sure.
Wow, it led to the demise of your Airbnb. This is going to be interesting. Hey guys, this is Maha from Once Upon A BnB. Make sure you like and subscribe to us on all streaming platforms. Follow us on Instagram at Once Upon A BnB. And if you have a crazy travel story to share, make sure you hit us up. Bye.
So one of the things with Airbnb is like, if you're not really big and you don't have like the money to hire like property managers and stuff like that, you're going to be very hands-on. And that's kind of what it got to, the point that it got to for me, where I was trying to be very hands-on, and I couldn't do that because I relocated to DC, and the drive to handle that was just kind of too much. I ended up hiring a property manager, but paying that property manager kind of cut way too much into my pocket, so I discontinued that.
What do you like? So you need somebody to clean it, obviously, but what else would you need like the property manager for exactly?
So what eventually happened was I had a few Airbnb units in there, but then I also had like a traditional renter in there.
Oh, okay.
So I had a property manager to kind of come. The property manager also handled the cleaning. handled my mail and everything, handled packages that got sent to me, and then just handled issues with the renters and the Airbnb, like flipping the rooms when one Airbnb person will leave and the next one will come. And they just did all that while I was in DC. My point, I didn't want anyone talking to me other than the property manager.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So,
You just want to be uninvolved.
and the bottleneck, yeah.
Okay.
So these nightmare guests, you didn't actually message them, or did these come when you were property manager, or when you outsourced that?
Great question. So the property manager, so for the nightmare guests, they just became too much for the property manager, and I actually had to go and confront handle it myself. So the worst one that I had was am I okay to go into the first?
Yeah,
man.
Yeah, start at the beginning.
Yeah, so the first one I had that was pretty bad. I had a 65-year-old old man. He says he was there for business. He does like car dealerships or whatever. My impression was he had no reviews on Airbnb. My impression was if he's older, he's more trustworthy, more responsible.
Yeah.
So I brought him in, and the first day he came, he starts like kind of berating my property manager with a bunch of questions. He's like, "Hey, do you guys have tools? Can I borrow like the upstairs room for like studying?" And all these random questions. It was clear he's never been in an Airbnb before.
Yeah.
I was going to say, that's my ongoing thing with old people.
Yeah, that's Ian's theory, the boomers, because they expect a hotel and they like usually haven't stayed at Airbnb, so they don't know.
I was going to say, what hotel can you just like mosey on into another vacant room? But like maybe
They
they're
have a business center.
maybe, yeah, that's what I was going to say. Maybe he was a 65-year-old Armenian man, if I remember correctly.
Yes, he was.
See, he watched.
I made it through the 7-minute video.
Right. Wow, okay. So he's asking to use tools, asked to use the room, and
Yeah, and because my property manager was kind of new to Airbnb as well, and my property manager is not like a professional. It was just a friend of a friend who needed a job, and I was like, okay, this is all you have to do. So literally, she just asked me, can he use this room? Can he borrow these tools? Can he do these things? So I had to answer like no, and then he kind of escalated. Was like, let me talk to Isaac. You're not Isaac.
it's defeating the whole purpose of the property manager.
Exactly. So in fear of not getting a bad review, I was trying to be hospitable. So I showed up and I tried to, accommodate him.
But
When you say, did you like fly in?
So I was in DC. So
okay.
The hour.
Wow. To bring him did you let him use the tools?
Yeah, I let him use the tools. I let him use the tools. I don't know why, because that led to more inquiries. But that's number one.
You give a mouse a cookie or a
you give him the tools, and then he's calling, asking how to use the tools. Do you know how to fix a Ford motor?
So that happened, and then later that same night, we started hearing banging on the door.
He's using the tools.
Turns out he invited his brother to the house, and the reason why he was asking for an extra study room is because he really wanted his brother to move in as an Airbnb thing as well.
Oh shit! He thought he was gonna sneak his brother in to live in the upstairs room
for a month.
Yeah.
Yeah, for 4 months.
What?
Yeah, so
They're not gonna know.
that I clearly.
How did you find that out?
So what happened? I have a Ring camera in front of my door.
Boomers just learned about Ring cameras like a year and a half ago.
They had no idea.
It's the most helpful thing in this whole rental property experience.
For sure.
Ring camera is super helpful for me. But I just saw this guy, come into the house. And then I kind of watched timestamps to see when people come and leave.
Mm-hmm.
And he was staying. And I'm like, where the hell are you staying? I mean, unless you're staying in a room in the one small bedroom with that guy, that's possible.
Mm-hmm.
But when he kind of asked for that extra room, I just kind of figured that's what he was trying to get at.
Yeah.
And eventually I came back and he had a discussion where he asked me, hey, I want to bring my brother here, and actually officially ran out the room. But by that time, I got a new Airbnb inquiry and I couldn't do it. So
okay.
I doubt. Yeah.
So did you like catch him staying in that room and have to say something or what?
Not officially. I just saw the timestamps where like he came one day, he left 2 days later, like out the door. So he spent
Sleep over.
So I'm not sure if he stayed in that room or not. But they were inquiring about using that room, and it wasn't available
Okay.
because of the Airbnb. But this guy stayed for about 2 months in total.
The old guy?
Yeah, the old guy,
Uh-huh.
and he trashed the room completely after.
Oh no. Like what did he do?
So I think the issue with long term rentals is that
People are slobs.
Yeah.
exactly, especially when you're not in like a hotel where they come and clean every single day.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. So he just literally just left his garbage in the room. Didn't really feel like going outside to take it out himself. He had stuff like banana peels and fruits and
Yeah.
like perishable items just kind of just lingering all around the room. It created a smell.
Gross.
Damaged the walls. I don't know if he spilled something on the wall or if it was
Him and his brother were playing a game.
I know. Was this like a 65-year-old
Tickle fight. Is this a younger or older Armenian brother? Is he like 60?
Right. Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's very strange. What if he's like an old ass meth head and that's why he wanted your tools? He's like tweaking out and throwing shit on the walls and making a mess on meth. Oh no. So that was nightmare guest number 1. Who else was there?
So nightmare guest number 2, I had these 2 girls come from down south, and they said they were trying to check out the school or because my Airbnb is right like a mile away from Towson. So apparently I have some friends at Towson or whatever. They want to hang out with them. But they came and I believe they wanted to dye their hair or something there, but it's almost like they did the whole hair dyeing experience inside the bedroom. And instead of doing it in the restroom, they just did it in the bedroom and they, destroyed the carpet.
What color hair dye are we talking here?
We're talking purple, pink.
Oh gosh.
Because
I got like normal hair colored carpet and stuff, so if you got that on top of it, it wouldn't be that big of a deal. But purple and pink,
yeah, that's gonna stand out.
So it was crazy because I like tried to get it out myself. It didn't work, so I ended up just putting a
rug over it.
Oh yeah, newspaper.
Did you have any success like reporting the stuff to Airbnb and getting like the security deposit or anything?
So
typically the answer is no from the rest of our hosts, but
yeah, I was gonna say I submitted for it. I got nothing back.
Oh man. What about reviews? Did you give how many stars did these guests get?
So I gave each guest that did me poorly. I gave them a pretty bad review.
Savage. I used to be afraid to do that, and actually, this is true. My guests have inspired me. I left my first less than 100%. Like I still gave him 5 stars, but I was like, yeah, this dude messed up my couch. And that
why would you still get 5 stars then?
Because I hit him up and I was like, hey man, I just left you a 5-star review. If you wouldn't mind doing mine, because I wanted, I care more about that than him. But I did write in that review like this guy fucked up my couch a little bit.
Yeah, that's very sneaky.
I recently went to a Airbnb in Florida, and I broke the key to their door, and they gave me 5 stars. So I was grateful. So I'm definitely gonna keep that in mind next time I have a bad guest. I'll probably give them 5 stars and do that method.
And then still write.
You're still informing everyone else what happened. Like,
yeah. What did he do to your couch?
He got. I'll just read.
Your $10,000 couch.
Rob Gronkowski. Yeah.
Rob Gronkowski. No.
Isaac, and for our newer listeners, I have a $10,000 couch. It's a lazy boy with 4 recliners and a giant sleeper sofa, and
called Rob Gronkowski.
Yeah, and so I'll just tell you what this guy I wrote on this guy's page. Christian, there you are, you son of a bitch. I don't know if you put your guests on blast, but I do.
And then give him 5 stars. You're not that hard.
I shit on you my podcast, but 5 stars. All right. Well, actually, I'm not going to hold this up for my stupid review, but anyways. So, did you have any notable good experiences?
Wait, were there any more nightmare guests that led to the property manager leaving?
No, there was just those 2, and mixing with our traditional renters, because they were also doing short-term leases while I was doing Airbnb. So all
Were
that.
they causing problems too?
Yeah, they were causing problems as far as like leaving dishes inside the sink and things like that for extended period of time. It was kind of hard for me to turn my Airbnb to like a luxurious like place.
Yeah. When you got some raggedy short-term renters.
Exactly. So they were holding me back in that regard. That's why I just kind of was okay with switching back to just traditionally renting.
Oh, so you phased all those Airbnb guests out of there?
Oh hell yeah! So what I ended up I discontinued Airbnb. I did like a little short term lease thing for this for I think a few months a few months, and then when I kind of synced a long term lease with the school semester. So now the entire I gave the entire house to like a group of kids, college kids.
Okay.
Oh, it's like, yeah, that's kind of, if you do ever, you could list your ad, I guess, around the school, breaks for the whole house as an Airbnb again. That's right.
Well, he's renting it for the whole school year, but for like the period is the school year.
Yeah. Is that 12 months out of a year?
Yeah, so yeah, it's gonna be August until August.
Oh, nice. Never mind, I'll shut up.
Yeah, it's August to August. So it's gonna be 12 the full year. But that is a good idea because a lot of times what happens anyway is that as soon as these guys like graduate, they just stop paying rent anyway. Like because if you graduate in May, but your lease is all the way until August. If I evict you, or if I actually leave, or if I make you like, there's no incentive for you to pay rent.
Right. Yeah, you could make their lease August through May, and then you could Airbnb for the summer.
Yeah.
Give them an opt out or something.
Yeah, give them the option.
That makes sense. I haven't thought about that. That makes sense.
I thought it was an interesting. It ended up not being a nightmare, but you got your Ring camera showed you had a guest that had checked out, and then they made a return.
Oh yeah, tell us that story. I thought that was pretty interesting too.
Yeah, so that's funny. So I have, so like I mentioned before, I have traditional renters, and then I mixed with the Airbnb guys. So one of the Airbnb guys, well, it was two of them. They stayed for like 3 or 4 days, and this is back when I was in DC, so I wasn't really hands on, but they were quiet. They didn't really create any issues, whatever. But they checked out on the Airbnb app, and I got paid and everything. They were gone, and like literally like 4 days later, they show up at the house, and passcode to get in. So like you don't really need a key or whatever. And I changed the passcodes, but I didn't change it within this period of time, so they still had the passcode. So I see this guy at the door. He didn't knock.
And they haven't texted you either or anything to let you know, like, hey, I left something.
Right. No one texted me. I go on the app.
Like, you're just vigilant on your Ring app, and you're like, wait, y'all are back?
Yeah. So exactly. So I go into kind of like a frenzy. I call my one of the tenants that are there. I'm like, hey, did you guys let them back in the house, or did you guys like what? Is there people in the house that are not supposed to be there or whatever?
Yeah.
And he's like, oh yeah, we're having a Super Bowl party. I'm like, okay, you're having a Super Bowl party, but I think the old Airbnb people snuck back in the house. So no, they didn't sneak back in the house. We invited them.
We're friends now.
Yeah, they're friends now and shit. That they had drinks in their hands and everything. Yeah, so
that's awesome.
Which Super Bowl is this? This is what the
last one,
the pandemic one. All right.
Yeah. So
go Bucks.
That was interesting. I was glad I could bring people together. I think they still talk to each other now.
Right. Something good came out of this.
Right. Yeah.
Do you have any ambitions of getting back into the Airbnb game at any point, like with other properties or anything like that?
So I've kind of switched. I kind of gave Airbnb a break. I'm doing more of like the Turo thing now.
Okay.
Yeah, but I would probably do Airbnb, but only with like a condo, or like a apartment style place. But one like where it's like just, I think a house is a lot to manage for Airbnb.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'll probably do that. I'm going to use my VA loan soon. And if you guys are familiar with the VA loan.
Yeah.
You talked all about using the FHA loan as a first time buyer in one of your bids, And then I'd imagine I saw you had one for like packing for the military, so I was thinking that's probably coming down the line of when using the VA loan, huh?
Yeah, so I was gonna try to use the VA loan, and then eventually convert that. I was gonna use it on a condo, and then eventually convert that a condo to an Airbnb. If Airbnb is still up and thriving, a few years from now.
I heard that like because it's getting so expensive that like people are starting to go back to hotels. Like people are using it a little bit less.
Yeah,
I'm
sure.
not using Airbnb once the entire time in Colombia.
Really?
Next week, yeah.
Is it just all hotels?
All hotels.
Well, Colombia is so dirt cheap. You could get like a luxury hotel, but you could also get a luxury ass like house too.
I was just looking at comps and I ended up going hotel.
Okay, I thought you said y'all had a villa.
It was through it's by like a hotel group though, like a luxury hotel group. Yeah.
What part of Colombia were you in?
I'm going to Medellin.
Medellin, okay.
He's going on the 5th. I'm gonna crash their party for a few days too, probably. Ian's actually half Colombian, believe it or not.
Yeah,
Oh, really?
going back to the
I
motherland.
know. I look like I'd be the Colombian, right?
Is it true? Is it true that Pablo Escobar owns all the Airbnbs out there?
There's
We should find that out. Is that true?
we'll report back.
Yeah. I'll ask him and I'll let you know.
We're going one of the nights like for an overnight trip is this place called Guatapé, which is like it's kind of like Lake Lanier meets Stone Mountain because it's got a giant rock that you climb up. And then it's also kind of meets like Helen, Georgia, if I'm using all Georgia landmarks. Because
he has no idea what any of these things are.
These are all places near Atlanta, but it's like a man-made dam, and that's where like all Pablo's like mansions. He has like multiple houses next to each other, like a discoteca, and they're all blown up from like getting stormed by the government. But
oh wow.
And so anyways, that's all like right there at the same place where you climb the rock and then go to this little like quaint little town.
Very cool. Very cool. Yeah. Have you been to Atlanta before?
Atlanta?
Yeah. That's where we are.
One. For that's where you guys are.
Yeah.
It's where all these are recorded.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
No, I've been to Atlanta once for like a church conference like a few years ago.
Oh, okay. Random.
Always wanted to be back. Yeah.
It's not that random. We have a lot of churches here.
Well, hey, do you want to drop your socials?
Yeah, so people can follow you, all 5 of our listeners.
50.
You can follow me at I'm Isaac with 2 underscores on Instagram and also on Twitter. I don't really use social media that much, but that's if you where you want to find me, that's where you can find me right there.
Well, yeah. All right. We'll link to all your YouTube videos and.
We say that. I'm not sure if we actually know how to do that or not, but maybe. It might be linked. All right, Isaac. Well, thank you so much for joining us all the way from Jersey/Philly.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure, guys. Thanks for having me.
Hey, thank you for your service.
Yeah, thank you for your service also. Oh, wait, one more question. Sorry. So you said you get like activated when like shit goes down. Did you go to the Capitol when they were storming the Capitol?
I was there that day.
Really?
What?
That's wild. What was that like?
All right, part 2 episode. Let's go.
Actually, I have a YouTube video on it, so you guys can check out that YouTube video on my channel where I talk about it.
Okay, yeah, I was going to say, what is your YouTube channel? You left that off.
Oh, yeah, so my YouTube channel is Sena Med. I just changed the name. It used to be Air Boss, but it's Sena Med now, ESENEMED. Yeah, so that's it.
All right, we'll have to check that out.
All right, but you got to leave me, because I didn't get to that video in my drive over here. So you got to leave me a little bit of a taste of this January 6th account.
Okay, cool. So on that day, right, so it's kind of funny how, like, the media kind of makes the thing seem like everything was, like, so random and unprepared. When we were actually tracking it, like, 2 to 3 days ahead of the
I knew it.
So we were like on standby per se. So I had all my medical equipment and everything, and we were like getting like messages, like being ready and stuff like that. This is all public information now, so I can say it. So on that day, we all were sitting in our main auditorium or whatever, and we're all like loading up or whatever, and we were kind of watching like the protests go down initially. And then it turned into like riots and stuff. And literally, as the whole world was watching it on their phones, we were on our phones watching it too. We're like, oh shit, like they're,
let's get out there. Yeah.
and we're all literally looking to our leaders or whatever, like to see if they're gonna like tell us this like loading up on a bus and going. And no, they're like, hold on, we haven't got the word yet.
Yeah, Trump was probably like, no, just let them go a little bit. We'll stop them before it gets too crazy. You know, I bet you know.
So we were just kind of waiting for that. And then eventually when it got to like 4 or 5 p.m., they let us out to go. And then, we had a whole police escort or whatever. They cleared the streets. We got there, and the party was over by the time we got there, honestly.
That's wild.
MPD and all the other agencies out there, they kind of calmed it down. There was a few hundred people out there still, and they were making arrests and stuff. I didn't see any action. I've only treated 2 people, and there were 2 guys who got their fingers jammed up in some shit trying to calm the crowd down. So nothing serious that I had to deal with.
Okay. Wow, that could have been much worse. Glad
Just
it
the
wasn't. Stop swallowing so loud. All right, cool. Well, thanks again, Isaac. We appreciate you for joining us. Thanks again for your service.
Thanks for your support, man.
All right.
All right, this has been another episode of Once Upon a BnB. This is Maha, Baby Janet.
And Ian. Deuces.
Later.